All right, we're here with H. Hillier Smith, Logan Paul's editor. Hayden is your name, right?
Yeah, my name is actually Hayden. Yeah, it's you're not the only one who's got confused with the branding, so I should probably revise that.
You are an award winner. Congratulations on winning Streamy of 2020 Best Editor for Logan Paul. Congratulations. That's crazy.
The fascinating thing was in 2019, I saw the Streamies, and actually that was the first time I saw it, and I looked at it and went, I want one. I want one of those.
I want one.
I want one. And then called Logan up and said, "Hey, Logan, we have to work really, really hard because I want one of those on my shelf because it's like." And then Logan was like, "That's absolutely what we're gonna do next year." And so we manifested it.
Wow.
It was. I want a streaming next year. We worked so hard, and then like that moment where what I sort of found out that I won, like it was genuinely like an incredible moment because that was like a year's worth of so hard work to make that happen.
That's amazing. Congratulations. We'll link it in the show notes, but there's a video of you on your Twitter. I think you and your girlfriend were watching it live. My favorite thing was you guys were like all dressed up as if you were going to the show, but the best part was you were wearing your socks. You didn't complete the package, so I found that a real treat to see your socks.
It's because the house has a no shoes policy.
Oh. That's
so I'm in my suit, but it's like no shoes in the house once it gets messy. And so I'm in my just white socks which don't match the suit at all. It's hilarious, I know. Unintentional, but it was a good observation from everyone.
So how long have you been working for Logan now?
4 years now.
Okay.
I started working with him 2016, where he had only 20,000 subscribers and he only made 3 vlogs.
Wow. And I think a lot of people, of course, I'm just going to get this question out of the way, are going to ask, were you there for the whole you-know-what that happened?
Yeah, up front, yes. I was, unfortunately, the one who edited it. But it was a very unfortunate, just like really disturbing moments of events that led to us making all of the wrong decisions you could potentially make.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, yes, I was involved in that video, but it's now that time has passed, it was an incredible opportunity in time. And let's even think about what the YouTube world was at that time, where it was grind, make a video every single day.
Yep.
And that moment for, I would say, everyone was a catalyst to question how healthy that was.
Yeah.
And I think there was a time during the whole of 2018 when everyone was kind of genuinely, especially us, questioned, okay, how can we make content that's healthy for us? We don't lose our sense of reality. We can remain grounded and remain like sort of authentic to ourselves as well, because the Logan and me who was at that time was not our true selves.
Yeah.
And that moment was that slap of reality that was needed for that to happen. It's just...
Yeah, it was such a important time in history, I think, for YouTube also as a platform. Basically, what was happening during that time, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed as though YouTube was really incentivizing people to make daily content. And
Absolutely.
We saw Casey Neistat really rode that wave. Logan and Jake rode that wave. Even David Dobrik in his own way rode that wave. And now here we are in 2020, Mr. Beast drops, 1 video a month, and he's doing totally fine. In fact, he just hit 50 million subscribers,
yes.
Last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. And I think YouTube as a platform is changing, and that's what we're seeing. And I hate to like start on that point, but I feel like it'll be a question in people's minds if I don't address it right up front. So
it's an elephant. It's an elephant in the room, and it's like being a little bit like emotional. I have to be upfront, and that's an elephant in the room, and so it's actually worth addressing it straight away, rather than hiding from it. And so I understand that being one of your first things you want to talk about.
Just to get it out. Yeah. But what's so cool is to see how the transition has happened in Logan's career. And I guess because we've been following Logan, we've in turn been following you because you're the man behind the edit. What the heck is going on over there? Like, you must be getting hours and hours of footage to work with. That's one of my first questions, is like the behind the scenes of working with Logan Paul, one of the biggest creators on YouTube. How many shooters are there? How much footage do you have to sift through? And are you the only person doing that? Do you have foundational editors involved? I mean, I just want to get into that. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
We tried with like assistant editors who probably go through like the bulk of the footage first, but it ended up becoming like too many cooks. There'll be a joke that they thought didn't work, and then Logan were like, no, that joke did work, but I didn't know that joke existed.
Yeah.
And so now 2 hours has been wasted. So it was better it's just me and Logan, and that is it. Logan, on a good day, if he's like really smart on what he films, I'll get an hour and a half's worth of footage, and I just have to turn that into a 4 to 6 minute vlog. On a bad day where he's kind of trying to figure out what he wants, I could just get a minimum of 3 hours of footage.
Yeah.
And I still have to turn that into a 4 to 6 minute vlog. But yeah, it's doing that 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And also, not to mention, that was what we were essentially doing for the daily vlogging. And so it was very fortunate we had that experience already. We did this every single day for a year and a half. And then when we then came up to, let's just say, only 3 vlogs a week, but still we're upping that production quality. This is essentially a walk in the park now. I can edit his vlogs in my sleep. I think I have. I think I have at one point.
Is it as crazy as somebody would think, or is it really kind of like a 9-to-5 job? Like you just kind of have a normal routine, or the image that he creates makes it seem as though you guys are just maniacs, but I would imagine that it is a lot of people take that for granted, and it's all just part of the
it is intense
of it. Yeah,
it is absolutely intense. It's the best way to describe that environment and how just intense it is. I lived there for about 6 months when I first moved here to LA.
Yeah.
And after the first month, I was like, I hate it. It was too much. It was so manic. I'm an introvert. I like to kind of just spend time by myself. But when I'm like having a meditation thing, whoa, what's going on there? And so it genuinely is like mad, but so much fun in there. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But so I moved out. But
so I moved out.
Yeah. So but I think going back on your earlier question, actually the days that I am editing, they are intense days. Because again, if an hour and a half footage, and then like me and Logan go through 4 to 5 different versions back and forth, trying to get the literal frame perfect on a cut.
Yeah.
And then like I'll do the cut, send it to him. No, it needs to be framed more. And like we are so particular, and just one frame to make sure that joke lands on a perfectly timed moment. And so the days can turn into like 13, 14 hour days, but that's the job. But it's fortunate that we only do it 3 times a week, or in this case, Logan's training, so he's not making any content right now. But since it's 3 times a week, I'd say that's reasonably healthy, because the other days I then kind of have the flexibility to do what I need to do.
So I met at like a Sony event about 2 years ago. I met one of the old. He quit, but he was doing some of the shooting for Logan. I forgot his name. I'm sure you would know him. But
Brendan.
Yeah, maybe that was his name.
Potentially, yeah.
So,
let's find out. Yeah.
He mentioned that he was farming out like edits overseas. Like, was that you? Was that who he was sending edits to? I don't know. Like, basically, when he was doing daily vlogs, I heard that he would shoot all day, pass the footage off, and then people in the night would edit, like either in London or.
Oh yeah, so at the time when Logan was daily vlogging, that was the benefit, was the time difference. So he would film, and again, the daily vlogging was much easier edits at the time as well. So he would film all day, start uploading at 10 or 11, and then I can set my computer to automatically download.
Yeah.
So I would wake up, and there was just footage just on my computer ready to go, just magically.
Was it encrypted? Because that's some special content over there. No,
it's on
it was just Dropbox or whatever, right? So
yeah, it's on a G drive, but actually that's a good point. We should probably encrypt it. Oh, I've just sent out an invite now, haven't I? Oh no, we're in trouble.
Well, yeah, there's that beautiful story about I think on Lord of the Rings, they were transferring like all of the major exports of the movies on iPods between one studio and another, and so like there's a guy walking with an iPod. And he's like, if he was to get mugged, like the entire movie was on that iPod. Like, it's such a silly concept. But if somebody stole your G drive, like, entire Logan Paul channel would be theirs to keep.
That's a terrifying thought. That is not an invite. Please don't do that. No. But
yeah, I mean so that was true then. The time difference obviously assisted with that workflow, and at the time, again, YouTube was incentivizing daily content, so you were getting all this crazy stuff. One of the things, again, as a filmmaker, I noticed was like oh, they're shooting on like the standard like baked in Sony profile or something, because like the skies were like clipping like crazy. Did you have any input on that, or is there an intentional kind of scrappiness to the shooting style? Does Logan hire like filmmakers and then he tells them, hey, by the way, I know you know how to do this the right way, but I kind of want it to have this raw look to it? Is there intention behind that?
I love that question because you've answered it. Absolutely. Part of, well, because here's our philosophy behind it. So let's just say they shoot at an S-Log and I now have completely amazing flat footage that I can now grade and look really nice. But the problem is that is now a filter on top of it, which actually is a separation from reality. And so that actually takes away some level of authenticity. If let's just say, and if the fact that the sky is clipping, you can't see the sky, it's completely overexposed, that also gives that amateur feel to it, which actually again makes what's happening to him a lot more believable, because it is believable. But if the moment we start putting more filters or more post-production effects on top of it that makes it seem polished, it's now reality TV that's gone through 5 different editors, rather than just me and Logan. It's part of the intention that we remain grounded in authenticity.
But is there ever a point where it's like, can we just switch to Canon because your skin tones will look better?
I mean, I've tried.
You've tried.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
I think we even filmed a vlog on a Red Dragon just for the fun of it.
Oh yeah,
and it was just again, it just felt completely different. It felt wrong. It felt wrong. But I think with the Sony stuff, it's interesting though, because on that note, okay, I didn't get that joke. What you said about the Canon skin tones.
Oh, okay.
I think I figured out the context to it, but it's for me as an editor, this is always an interesting conversation. So, what codecs do you do? What type of proxies do you create? How do you do this? What do you guys think about this bitrate? I don't bloody know. I struggled with this at Film University as well, where they give me all of these technical stuff, and I'm just like, just give me the bloody footage and just let me do something creative with it. And I still have that same issue. If you want to talk technical stuff with me, it's not going to happen. Just give me footage, and I'll tell you how I can make it feel like a great story to tell.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's why you're the perfect hire for him. But I really do think, I mean, you know me as I'm a host of Indie Mogul. I've been doing gear reviews. I'm a total nerd for all that stuff. And I do love to analyze things. And I've noticed, like, you know, David Dobrik doesn't have a mic on his camera. Mr. Beast has a full crew, but they're shooting handheld with like a Rode mic on top. Logan Paul, you know, is clearly shooting with the baked in profile. And I've just seen this pattern with all of these top creators that they have clearly the budget to hire a crew. Like Logan could absolutely spend $100,000 a day to hire a crew to come out, mic him up, put lav mics, like get a full, you know, Alexa Mini and everything. You could do the whole shebang, and he still doesn't. Even for the music videos and even for the more produced stuff, it still is being shot in a rough and dirty way.
It's as I've said in that last question, it's authenticity.
Yeah.
The more it has to go through like higher quality cameras, and now has to go through these lav mics. It all just adds one more layer of less believability, less authenticity, less things feeling realistic.
Yep.
And you're right. It's like we genuinely have had those conversations where we had the opportunity to Logan to just buy a discounted RE Alexa Mini, but we decided no, that's just a waste of money. Like it just does not feel believable the more effort you actually put into it. That and it has to be relatable. It has to be it can't feel, Logan cannot feel like a TV presenter. He has to be your best friend.
And what's interesting, though, is as technology does get more accessible for people, I think naturally the quality will continue to get better. I mean, we see drone shots in Logan's videos. We do see nice depth of field. There are moments where I'm like, oh, wow, that's a very beautiful image. The Sony cameras have gotten better. They continue to look better. So as you slowly upgrade, but that trickles down all the way to even me with an iPhone. Like my iPhone looks amazing now. So maybe the quality will continue to get better in that way as technology gets better and more accessible for more people. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what's that base level of something being acceptable in believability and believable authenticity.
Yeah.
And because it's like, if this philosophy that I'm saying is the case, we would still be using webcams.
Yeah.
But that's not the case anymore. We can use the $4,000 Sony cameras.
Yeah.
But it's, that's actually a really good point. And so I would say just in time, I think what those goalposts, I would say, increase just over time.
Yes.
But it's always best for authentic believability that you kind of need to follow this goalpost rather than this goalpost up here.
And on that... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, on that note, the thing that isn't obtainable for people is the level of mastery that you have done with editing. And that's what your channel is all about, by the way. If you haven't subscribed to H. Hillier Miller or whatever, we'll link it down below. Sorry, I butchered the name, but subscribe to Hayden's channel. That's how I discovered you, and I'll tell you what video it was, and you probably know what it is. It's the Impulsive. You were in the Impulsive studio with Logan, and I was just like, I think I was just editing, and I just pulled up YouTube to like let it play on the background while I was doing some color grading or like editing a thumbnail or something, and I just saw like, hey, you should watch this on my suggested feed, and I was like, oh, what, Logan's editor's talking about stuff? Oh, sweet. And then I clicked it, and that video was so funny. Like the two of you were a riot, and you were going over this incredible video about, I'm not going to mention what it's about, but you should go watch it. That one sequence at the end where like Logan just lost it, and you used a bunch of B-roll to explain what was happening.
What's happening?
It was just so beautiful. And then I went on a rabbit hole of your content, and basically I watched everything, because at the time I think you only had maybe 4 or 5 videos up. Basically what you're doing is you're breaking down the editing style of some of the top creators, including Logan, which is obviously great because you can actually show your timeline to people, because it's like, oh, this is how Logan did it because I edited it. Here's my timeline. Number 1, you're using Final Cut. Let's just make it known that everybody uses Final Cut because it's faster and better. If you're a Premiere editor and you're a high-end YouTuber, why? You're wasting time.
Oh no, just don't even get me started on that debate. Well, maybe another time, but yeah, Final Cut is the way to go for just quick turnarounds. It really is. But no, but it's actually, yes, so like even on that note, I think giving some more context to why I've started this channel, I remember growing up when I first started studying editing, it was tutorials on how to do this VFX shot or this transition. And even then I was like, but why? And that's actually always been the biggest thing. Okay, here's a transition, but why did you do that transition?
Yes.
And that's always been a question into my mind. And so it's like I went down in the past 6, 7, 8 years of just like that kind of philosophy of why is it that this shot is 2 seconds in length, and then why is it, and what does that mean, and then what does that mean when the next shot is only half a second? Does that increase the pacing? What can that tell you as an audience? Okay, if things are getting faster now, like you should need to start anticipating more and be more engaged. I like to start thinking about the actual philosophy and strategies that you can do in that editing, and people are responding so well to it. Of like, I think it's like someone's finally saying it type of moment here with this channel.
Well, like I was saying, I think before we even started, I have been such an evangelist for your channel because I feel like there's so many people that are just missing it with YouTube. I say we collectively as the filmmaking community have always looked down on YouTube as this like, oh, it's for the kids thing. And we have to just come to the realization that this is the future of video production, and we're going to have to just fess up and start working for YouTubers probably. If you're a freelance shooter at some point in your life and your career, you're going to be working with a YouTuber because this is how content is being produced now. So you have to learn it.
Yeah, my favorite thing actually on that note, this literally happened the other day. So one of the biggest TV shows in the UK is called Doctor Who, and they had this New Year's Day episode, and the next headlines of the BBC: world record viewership of the Doctor Who, 5 million views. And I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
Like, wow, it's the most people that's ever watched a TV show. Logan kits that in half a day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, here we are. Mr. Beast posted a video yesterday, and I just finished watching it, and I think it's at like 10 million now or something. So,
yes.
Yeah, and then I was watching. We were watching MasterChef. I'm a big Gordon Ramsay fan, and my wife and I were watching it. The winner wins $100,000, and I was like, cool. That's like a quarter of a Mr. Beast giveaway. Like,
it's exactly that. And so, but I guess, and that's also the interesting, and I think that actually exposes the big difference. MasterChef, they probably spent $500,000 making that show.
Yeah. On the talent, on the lighting, on the crew, yeah, everything.
Yeah, and then with Mr. Beast, he probably gave out 100,000, but if he was smart in what he did, the crew and the production and all the editing probably barely cost him 50,000.
Yeah. Now here's my predicament with where I'm at in my niche, and I think a lot of the listeners of this channel are also in the filmmaking and gear space. You look at Peter McKinnon, you look at Matty Apoya, you look at all the top creators in this filmmaking niche. There is this kind of weird thing where, like, if the quality of my footage looks like garbage, then it seems as though it's like, well, why would I listen to him? His footage looks like garbage. And that's the struggle I personally have been in, where, like, in the filmmaking and technology niche, I mean, MKBHD, he shoots 8K Red RAW, right? Like, he doesn't have to do that, but it does give him the sense of credibility in the tech space. And I feel like if you look at all the top creators in the tech space, they do have a level of professionalism with the production value of it. Peter McKinnon, of course, is kind of the king right now. I think he's sitting at 5 million subs.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, in the tech space, it seems this kind of the quality level thing almost is associated with, is this a reputable, legit channel? Like Linus Tech Tips, I don't know if you ever watched any of his videos. They're very well produced. I think they just switched to 12K Blackmagic cameras.
Well, actually, that's interesting you point that out, because, again, 5 minutes ago I was talking about how we make the effort of making our productions relatively low quality intentionally, but whereas of these creators who are exploring tech and exploring cameras and how you can make these pieces of tech the best possible, it gives them permission to do that.
Yeah,
it gives them permission and the power to be, we even talked about the goalposts here, it gives them permission to be opening up that goalpost and actually elevating that new level, which then, as I said earlier, actually brings us up. They bring us along with them. And so since they're pioneers in that technology and have the permission to make the best produced content possible, actually, like, I think I'm kind of all for it. What I'm saying is, and I think we look to them to bring the rest of us up on what our new base level of quality is. So actually, I'm all for them to continue doing that.
And I mean, your channel too, again, you're doing that with the way you shoot. I mean, you've got some nice, beautiful RGB lights, and it's well lit, well shot, you know. So in this space, in the education, tutorial, filmmaking, editing space, it does seem that, you know, to show that you're credible, you want to have some sense of professionalism.
Now I see where you're getting at. I completely messed up. Yes, we have to be. Yes, we can't make our quality poorly made. Because now I understand what you're getting at. Yeah, we can't make our quality poorly made because, why would I listen to you when you've clearly not placed your microphone in the right spot, where you've clearly just poor lighting. So that, but I think for me personally, what that kind of means, I promise myself to make a video every week, but that's already become a really big challenge because I'm having to maintain such a high production quality every week.
Exactly.
I'm already pretty much burnt out at this point. I've only been doing it for 6 months. So that's the unfortunate con of having us to maintain that quality, actually.
Well, that's, for me as a creator, I have been struggling with this. Like, should I just get out of this niche? Like, should I go into like an entertainment niche where the barometer of quality like can go down, but my production in terms of, like, I love comedy, I love entertainment, and I've been trying to fuse that into my work, but I'm almost like going in circles because people just get pissed off that my test isn't like accurate enough. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there is also, I think in terms of, unfortunately, there's a lot of ego in a lot of this, where I think you even said it yourself, like, why, if this person didn't get that light at the right angle, then they don't deserve my attention.
Yeah.
And so you have to make it perfect. Otherwise, they won't care. Or also, they want to at least probably confirm their own ego.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this person telling me how to film a video? if he didn't get that light right, then he doesn't deserve my attention. I'm a better creator than him.
Exactly.
And so I think that's their problem if they judge you because you didn't get your light at a perfect spot. That's their problem rather than yours.
So I want to get back to what you've crafted with Logan over the last couple of years and where things have arrived now. I think it's been really exciting over the last 2 years to see Logan, Jake, Mr. Beast, Mark Rober, Dobrik, although Dobrik has kind of moved over to TikTok now, but that's okay, and Twitch. But like the amount of storytelling being done on YouTube is just phenomenal, and I've been so impressed with the amount and the level of mastery that's going on. And it's like we've been saying, it's masked behind this like beautiful magic trick of we don't know what we're doing, we're just throwing stuff around. And just like, was this you've been seeing the transition, you've been in it. What has this been like as an editor and as a storyteller to see that? And honestly, you have shaped a lot of this yourself. I mean, I'll give you credit where it's due. So I mean, it's really exciting.
I love the fact that you point this out because we didn't realize that we were doing that when it was happening. It was, we kept on doing what we did, and then suddenly we looked back and went, "Oh wow, we did that." I think it was because we just happened to be at the right place to make that happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, this wasn't intentional, is what I'm trying to say. But I think it was because we kept on pushing out that experiences over and over and over again to therefore get us to this point in quality.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this, if I'm honest, but it's just like, what is it that happened with me personally that made me push how to improve our quality? That's the question I'm asking myself now to try and find that answer. And honestly, I don't think I figured that out yet. I have to be honest. I think it's just we happen to be at the right spot to kind of unintentionally be pioneers in upgrading YouTube storytelling.
Yeah,
I would say.
Well,
but
I mean,
now
it comes with experience too.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I was just saying
you
you've done hundreds and hundreds of these videos, if not 1,000 at this point. I'm not even sure.
More definitely 1,000, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine too, just to stay sane, like as you mature as a storyteller, you want to begin to explore, deeper things and become a better artist. And I'm sure Logan even feels that way too.
Yeah, I think that actually might be it. It's that's actually a philosophy that Logan taught me. He does not settle. He doesn't get to a point and go, "All right, guys, we got it. We can just stay at this point." He doesn't find something that sticks and then focuses on that forever. So like the best example would be, we figured out how to make these 3 vlogs a week so good, and we were on such a roll. And then one day, Logan turned and went, "All right, I'm done." And then he spent like a month trying to figure out what he wants to do next. And now, fortunately, he's now training to fight Mayweather, and he just moves on. And so that's what I kind of mean of just, we never settled. We never got to a point and went, "All right, we're good enough." We kept on pushing. How can we do it more? How can we do it better? How can we improve ourselves consistently, growing and growing and growing? And there's a constant loop of improvement. Now, so that I can look back at the vlogs that we made at the start of January last year, which I thought were perfect. I look back at them now and go, they are garbage.
Well, yeah.
And I love that. I love that. I can look back at something that I thought was great, and now I hate it. And I'm so happy I can do that.
That's amazing. That means that you're making progress and you're getting better, and hopefully you can do that again this year.
Oh yeah, exactly. I hope so. I think honestly, like this is your big scoop. I think Logan we haven't quite figured out what we want to do for content this year. I think right now it's the fight, and then we're going to figure out what to do afterwards. But right now we don't know. normally that should make us panic, but now that's genuinely exciting.
Yeah.
We don't know what to do next. Oh, wow.
I've always wondered that, like, if YouTubers are kind of just twiddling their thumbs. I've heard interviews with David where he was like, yeah, after I'm done uploading a video, I just sit in my car and like try to think of my next video. It's like, no, yeah, it's not as like planned out as a TV show or a movie set you would think, is, but it's fascinating. That's what makes YouTube so great. Is it's a personality based thing. It's not a movie studio.
Yeah, no, we're kind of hacks in the way that we can make that sort of a personality of Logan feel like a TV show.
Yeah.
But it really is just three people. It's like Logan, the video guy, and then me as an editor. And that's it. Three people produce.
You only have one shooter?
We did two for a little bit, but it didn't add enough to justify it. But now it's just one video person, and then if an activity is going to look like we need to, we'll bring along someone. It's one video guy. Logan has a personality. He brings along his friends. He has some banter with them.
Yeah.
Gives me the footage, and so the production is three people. Mm-hmm. That is it.
It's amazing. But the thing, again, that I think a lot of people watch all these creators like David and Logan and Jake, and even Mr. Beast now too, like the gang is so important. It's such an important storytelling tool that we have seen throughout generations of TV shows. We have Seinfeld, we got Friends, we got 30 Rock, whatever it is. There's always a crew of people that like shoot the breeze with each other and make jokes. Is that part of the storytelling for you guys, and how integral is that for Logan and for you, all the guys?
Again, you pretty much answered the question. We do have that mindset of, to a degree, this is a sitcom. This is, you watch as you would an episode of Friends or an episode of The Office on Netflix. You want to see what those characters have gotten up to that day.
Yeah,
we follow that exact same idea. What did Logan? What did Mike? What did any of the Maverick people get up to that day?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's entertaining and you're hanging out with your friends, like if you watch The Office, you've developed a relationship with Michael Scott. If you watched a lot of Logan, you have developed your own relationship with Logan.
Yeah.
Like you cannot help that if you spend a lot of time with someone, and quality time that is as well. And so YouTube vlogging is what today's sitcoms are.
Yeah, it is. It really is. How do you think somebody can integrate that type of storytelling into their own stuff without obviously employing, their friends? Like, is this something that you can do as a small creator with your fellow filmmakers and, stuff like that?
If I told you that secret, everyone would be masterful storytellers right now. But also, honestly, I also don't actually know the answer to that question, because I asked that question. It's because, the best way to explain it is, Hayden, I saw one comment literally a couple of days ago on my channel that said, well, Hayden, if you're so good at this, why don't you do your own Logan Paul vlogs? And I went, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I genuinely don't know how Logan thinks, where he can improvise his life to be that entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm a reactionary editor. He gives me footage and I can react in how to make that even more entertaining. But it truly does come down to Logan as his personality and who he is that organically makes him so entertaining.
Yeah.
And so I don't know his secret. If you asked him how he does it, I don't think he knows. He just has that natural instinct.
Yeah.
It's intuitive. And it's genuinely actually something I'm investigating. What is that?
Yeah. The
formula?
It factor, right? The charisma. I've asked some other people this as well, some YouTube experts, and you talk to a YouTube educator and they're like, hey, make sure you get good titles, good thumbnails, watch Hayden's channel to learn how to edit. It's like, yeah, okay, but how do I become like blank? And it's like, well, so and so is like so unique, and like they have the charisma, they have the it factor. It's almost, you almost have to be a little self-aware of who you are. But the flip side is Marques Brownlee is not that crazy, like ridiculous, charismatic, outgoing, ridiculously loud and fun and improvising guy like Logan either, and he's very successful. He's
I think it's what he talks about. What he talks about is what everyone wants to know.
Exactly.
Is the new iPhone good? Is the new PS5 any good? And he knows that, and so he has. I think he has that support. He has tech. Give him a piece of tech, and he has the understanding ability to talk about it. In the same way for me, give me a YouTube video, and I will be able to talk about how that YouTube video works for 2 hours. That's just what it's. He has that skill set himself, and so I think maybe that is it. Like, what is your skill set that you can naturally talk about? And I think that's what you should be focused on. And so, do I want to do a Logan Paul vlog? No, that's not my personality. But as I said, give me a YouTube video to deconstruct. That's what I can do. I
love that. Yeah, and maybe even be self-aware that that thing that you are the best at may not get 1 million subscribers. Like it's be aware and okay with that. You know, at least I'm speaking for myself. Like, I want to do more. I'm even considering maybe finding an actor and being kind of the behind the scenes guy for another channel. But anyways, I just love YouTube so much, and I feel like my niche just doesn't get it, and it's so frustrating for me. So
actually, on that note, I'm gonna tell you, I think one of my own philosophies that I am now like exploring. So when YouTube was in its infancy, I had a webcam, started making YouTube videos, and it was great, and I showed it to my friends, and people were entertained by it. I started doing that naturally and organically. I started connecting with other YouTubers and other creators, but they were actually better and even more interesting personalities than me, and suddenly I got intimidated. I got, oh god, I'm not as interesting as these guys. But then I noticed they actually need a video guy, and they actually need an editor. And then so I then said to them, hey, let me just edit your videos, let me just film your videos. And then I started working with them, and then I actually started getting their experience that they were having as well, and I started learning from them. And so what I'm trying to say is, at one point I made a decision to stop being a YouTuber myself. And this was, I would say, 10 years ago I made that decision. Let me think, 26, 60, no, when I was 18 I think I made the decision. So 8 years ago I made a decision. 8 years now today, I finally looked around and said, I looked at all of my experience and said, now I'm ready.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think maybe that's 8 years. Now I figured out what I want to talk about as a creator. But it was because I was patient enough to have my own life journey, my own life experience, looked around and went, okay, I think I found something interesting to talk about. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, you have meat to bring to the table. It's not just like, well, guys, I'm figuring this out with you, so let's go. Which is a route to take as well, but.
But what that then meant is I didn't feel forced to do a Logan Paul vlog.
Yeah.
But it was like it was because I had my own life experiences to find a spot where I can express myself.
So let's break down some of the ways that you edit and the things that you've talked about on your channel. Again, I can't encourage people enough to go to Hayden's channel. Again, I'm linking it in the show notes. Go watch it. Do a deep dive like I did. Every single one of them is super entertaining and amazing. I've been saving the Tenet one because I haven't seen Tenet yet. I know it's been a big project for you. So I want to give it, like, can I watch it without seeing the movie, or can I even skip the movie? Because I've heard so many negative things.
I don't have the answer for that. I want you to watch my video because I am so happy with the video. I am so happy with it.
I want to watch it too, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the main reasons why only half my average viewers have watched it as well. But that doesn't matter. I'm still happy with the video that I made.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think go watch the movie. Just so my video would be a lot more entertaining than the actual movie itself. Because the actual movie is, I'm afraid to say, absolute garbage.
I'm going to watch the movie just so I can watch your video. Like, that's literally the only reason. My wife will be like, why are you watching this? I'm like, oh, because I'm going to watch Hayden's video.
Yeah, please do. But yeah, I think, like I said, that's my favorite video I've made so far on my channel.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy. That's a big statement.
Yeah.
So one of the things that a lot of people just don't understand about YouTube is that it's a different type of language when it comes to editing compared to what a lot of us are taught and what we learn in the filmmaking and commercial space. Really, can you just break down kind of the basics? Obviously, there are things that are still true to standard filmmaking. You have an act 1, act 2, act 3, the save the cat type of stuff. I don't know if you've read that book, but
yeah.
There's still a lot of the basic core foundations of what make a good story in there, but there are some little tweaks and things that I think are really essential for YouTube because of the retention. You know, you want to keep people's retention. You want them to ask for more. You want them to potentially binge the content so you can kind of set it up. You want to encourage them to stick around to the end by giving them some sort of reward of some sort. Can you like break down for our listeners how you think about, like, in your mind, when you think about a timeline, what are those core like pieces that you're just putting into the puzzle?
Okay, so it's basically the best word to think of is optimized. You have to essentially tell the best story that you can as quickly as possible. You cannot waste a second.
A second?
A second. I'd say not even half a second. You cannot
amazing.
Waste. And so that is with me, especially with Logan's videos, we consider what every second means.
Now, before you continue, were you thinking that 3 years ago when you were doing daily vlogs?
No. That is a new philosophy.
Okay.
So that is a philosophy that we have learned this year. And
and it's worked. It's obviously worked.
Retention. Okay, so luckily, fortunately for me, someone actually gave me the answer and the phrasing that I was looking for, and I can't actually remember quite the exact person who said this, but this was the phrase I was looking for. It's not attention spans; it's actually consideration spans.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
How much they consider investing the next second with you. And so if that next second isn't a good quality, then that second they made a decision to stop watching.
Yep.
They reconsider every single second why they want to keep on watching. And so every single second you need to give them a new reason to continue watching.
And you want them to be satisfied at the end too. That's one thing that YouTube has been trying to figure out, is that they'll poll people after they watch a video and they say, hey, were you satisfied with this? Because there is the metric of like, you watched all the way through, maybe it was late at night and you just let it play or whatever. And when you actually think about it, you're like, I wasn't that satisfied with this. So that's another thing too. But anyways, I want you to continue. Yeah, no. Sorry, I cut you off. But I wanted to make that note that a couple years ago, YouTube valued consistency and like mass amounts of content over retention. And now we're at this point where if you're able to hold people's what was the phrasing?
Consideration.
If you're able to hold their consideration for 100% of the video, then YouTube really loves that. And then obviously, you know, you want people to watch your video all the way to the end anyways.
This comes down to the algorithm conversation. What is YouTube's algorithm? And it's a big myth. Everyone has their own facts as to what it is.
Yeah.
No one bloody knows. Like, it's a myth. But you can do trial and errors to figure out and theorize what it actually is. But it seems to pretty much change every single week. But I think, but my way of looking at that is try to think in YouTube's context on looking in the industry and what they want audiences to do.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, when we were posting, when the algorithm was post every single day, what they were doing was, shit, Netflix is blowing up and it's taking away a lot of our people who spend a lot of time on our video, on our website. What are we going to do about it? Netflix has longer form content. Okay, longer form content. Okay, but that takes longer to make. So now we then encourage everyone to just post consistently. Yeah. And so now what that then means is you start making 10, 15, 20-minute videos every single day. And that was the algorithm at the time. Now it's definitely, but of course, also given the context of me and Logan, that then challenged and showed how unhealthy that was.
Oh, yeah.
So now in the past couple of years, that's now been moving back to retention, because what they then realized was, yes, someone's making 10-minute videos, but is that a decent 10-minute quality piece of content? No, they only actually watched 2 minutes of it and clicked off.
Yeah.
So exactly. Now they understand consideration, retention is actually what's important.
And so if you look at Logan's channel, some of his videos are 6 minutes now. You're not having to hit this number anymore.
Yeah, because again, that's the other new thing. It's and actually, this is actually one of the most beautiful things. So given the context of what happened to Logan, Logan's Google Preferred got cut. You have no idea how much of a blessing in disguise that was.
Is that's the monetization?
The extra level of monetization.
Yeah.
So we have normal monetization, and then Google Preferred is pretty much, again, don't quote me on this, like triple the amount of AdSense. You get a higher share in the AdSense revenue, basically.
Because he's bringing in a ton of people. So
yeah, and more higher profile ads. Like you'll be more likely to have a McDonald's ad or a Pepsi ad. But he got cut off from that.
Gotcha.
And so Logan then went, okay, so that means I don't need to, since that's no longer one of my main sources of income, I need to change things around, and I am no longer obligated to making 10-minute videos to match that criteria to get on to have Google Preferred ads. But that then meant that then encouraged us to have a better quality of time.
Yeah.
If we are no longer tied down to making 10-minute videos, we're no longer under that obligation. We can make the videos whatever length we want, because that's no longer the priority.
Yeah. And
so that then meant, like, I think, again, don't quote me on this, but I'm 100% certain Logan doesn't even look at his AdSense anymore, because it's just I don't think...
It's not even icing on the cake at that point. It's literally just like the cherry on top at that point.
Yeah, like it's like a nice little bonus. He'll probably go buy an extra Gucci bag, or probably doesn't. but like in his case, that no longer became his priority income or a main source of it. So what I'm trying to say is, once we stopped being tied down to having to make 10-minute videos, it meant we can make whatever length that we wanted to, and actually meant that we could then make perfect condensed pieces of content. And 4 to 6 minutes is essentially, as of now, that perfect thing. Yeah. I remember 5 to 6 years ago, the perfect length was 3 minutes and 30 seconds before they changed the algorithm to be 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that was it.
Do you think David had anything to do with that too, with his 420 videos, or what do you think?
So that was, on that note, Ash, I'm really glad you brought that up. That was, for me, my big epiphany. So David Dobrik only came onto my radar about, I think, at the start of 2019. And so I started watching his videos, and I'm like, why is he...
They're so entertaining. Great. Oh my gosh.
And I was like, for months thinking, why is he only making 4-minute, 20-minute videos? Like, he's not getting ads, and it's like that. And I scoffed at him.
Yeah.
But then I have realized something incredible, and I owe this to David for this epiphany, where Logan went to Coachella, David went to Coachella. Logan sends me the footage. It was like 4 hours of footage. It took me about 3-4 days, because again we weren't posting as much, and so I can really polish it. It took me about 3-4 days to make the video. It was a 20-minute video. Cool, we're done. The same day, David posts his Coachella vlog, and it was 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yep.
And I'm like, where did the rest of it go? Where did it go? And I was thinking about it, and then I watched back our vlog with Logan, and it was really boring. But it was because Logan filmed so much that I put the majority of it in.
Yeah.
But I bet you with David, he probably looked at he probably filmed 2, 3, 4 hours of it and went, nah, this 4 minute 20 seconds is the best part of it. The rest of it can bloody go. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And his video was so much better because of it. And that was my epiphany. 2001 Space Odyssey, I was flying through that space nexus network, whatever you want to call it. Oh my god, I get it now.
Yeah.
And since then, it's everything that I do has to make sure there has to be a justifiable reason as to why your video is more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, make it as short as possible, because this goes back to what I was saying earlier. There was a time when 3 minutes and 30 was the best optimal time. If everyone looks at their analytics, that technically still is. Mm-hmm. It's just the YouTube algorithm doesn't want it. It doesn't want 3 minutes 30 to be it, and it's tried to force it. It really has tried to force it the past couple of years, but the truth is 3 minutes 30 minimum, 6 minutes potentially is I think the best spot that you can get before you do start losing more than 50% of the people that watch your videos.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we see, TikTok is just so fascinating. I don't know if you've played around with TikTok, but I had a couple of viral parodies. I don't know if you saw my music video parodies, but I
haven't, no. But go ahead anyway.
I did a parody of Bad Guys called Gear Guy.
That sounds great.
And then, but anyways, yeah, you get 110% retention on TikTok videos because people will watch them over and over, and they're only 15 seconds. So, you know,
that's 15 seconds of consideration rather than 20 minutes of consideration.
Exactly.
And so what that then means for them is, if you've 15 seconds and it wasn't a very good video, you haven't wasted enough time, and so they're not going to be pissed off.
Yeah, exactly.
They move on to the next video.
And that's the same with David too. Is he was cramming so much quality in 4 minutes that it was just impossible to stop watching it. Even if you were like, I don't know if I want to finish this. He just continued to like have prank after prank or joke after joke. You just can't help but look away. It's almost like those Vine compilation videos where it's like, by the way, I've thought about doing a channel like that before when I was like struggling and I just needed to like make some side money, because like there's got to be killer retention on those, because you're just putting joke after joke after joke after 6 seconds, you know. So
yeah, me and my girlfriend, we watch meme videos I'm subscribed to like 7 different channels which are just meme compilations, but it's for that exact reason. The retention on those is great because that 10-second meme might have sucked, but the next one was great.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's only problem is if it's 5 memes that suck, then you've lost me.
Yeah. Back to how you look at the edit with all that in mind and all that in consideration, no pun intended. How do you move forward? How do you work with Logan, and how do you craft these stories to be so tight, you know, if you will?
I would say, first of all, definitely it's me and Logan just work perfectly. That's because of the 4 years experience that we've had together.
So there's true chemistry there that is almost it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's exactly. I think just the stars aligned when I started working with Logan, because his storytelling philosophies just so happened to be the exact same philosophies that I had, and so we worked perfectly there. And so we didn't have to teach each other anything. But I think first of all, definitely with Logan. Logan pretty much already had like a situation will start, and he's already figured out the punchline. And then you'll be able to see if you saw the raw footage, you will see it in his eyes. And then he'll push Mike to say that not say a line, but he would push Mike to encourage him to have a type of response and kind of encouraging, and there we go, and there we got a punchline. He's already knows exactly where he wants it to go, and he will figure out building a live puzzle on how to get there as quickly as possible.
That's amazing. So he doesn't go into each video with like a script or an outline or anything. He just kind of there's got to be some sort of premise at the beginning though, like today we're going to blow up this thing, or we're going to buy the bus, or you know, there's some sort of point to it, right?
So if you were to go to UCLA and watch an improvised show, it's the exact same thing.
Wow.
Every single vlog is just an improvised show.
Is that the only way to do it, you think? Because David improvises.
David improvises. David's just a master improviser, and also his team is just fantastic improvisers. Yeah. Logan and his team are great improvisers.
Maybe this niche, it works best, but you know, Rober will spend probably 3 months on one video, and Mr. Beast, I know, plans everything out.
But I think, but on that statement, that means that there isn't a set of rules.
There's not. Yeah.
There isn't a set of rules. You just have to find out what works best for you in order to make your content work. But it's like, Logan improvises, David improvises, Mark Rober plans, or he would probably film as much as he can and then build the story in the edit. Actually, I would like to think that's how Mark does
on your channel.
I've actually been looking into it, but I think the thing is, since his videos are 20 minutes long, that I'm gonna have to make him like a 2-3-parter.
Yeah, I liked what you did with the Beast one though, where you kind of sped it up. That was cool. Yes,
but I think
his are so essential to see the whole thing almost.
I think because of my experience with Logan, Mr. Beast's methods were so transparent to me.
Yeah.
Whereas with Mark, I've watched a lot of his videos and I haven't quite figured out that exact perfect formula yet. But I love that.
Yeah.
And the moment I figure out how he builds his videos, then I'll make a video about it. But literally, I'm watching it and trying to figure out what exactly is it that he's doing that's keeping me watching. And so again, like, I don't have the answer straight away, but I'm curious to find out what that answer is.
If you met Mark at like a party or something and he just told you what he did, just that alone would be fascinating. He's just this amazing engineer. So again, it comes back to the talent. Okay, so I'm so sorry. I rabbit trail like crazy here. That's what podcasts are for though, right?
Oh yeah.
So Logan Paul, it kind of begins with him coming up, improvising, working with the talent. You get all this footage. How do you start crafting this improvisation? And you know, I guess because you have this chemistry, you can see in his face and you can understand with the footage where he's going with it in most cases, because you guys have that chemistry.
Yeah, so I would say I have a very good mixture of just a lot of my understanding of what I've grown up with creatively. So I grew up studying comedy, I grew up studying music, I grew up studying film and video, and all of those always come together when I'm making these videos. And I even talk about it in one of the vlogs where I deconstruct. Actually, what I do with Logan stuff is I create a rhythm. So it's if you were to actually have like a tempo,
yeah.
If you could find that tempo in Logan's vlogs,
it's amazing.
You will like suddenly what I'm actually doing to you is I'm now playing you a song.
Yep.
There is the verse, there's the bridge, there's the chorus, then there's like the climax of the song or something like that. But there is an actual song, a piece of music playing as the dialogue of what's actually happening alongside what Logan is improvising. Another case would be, and this is actually one of my favorite experiments, if I don't know how I want to structure one of his improvised scenes, and let's just say I have this line here and this line here, and there's so much going on here, what happens if I cut everything out in the middle and these two put together? If these two lines still make sense, then everything in between doesn't matter. That's gone.
Yep. Because again, every second matters.
Yeah. And so it truly, genuinely is a puzzle every single time.
Wow.
And I would say, and so it would be, and it's like, it's motivated. Logan will have a setup. Sometimes you have like that 1, 2, 3, like we have the setup, we have like the middle part of a line that then helps the punchline.
Yeah.
What happens if I just give you the punchline straight away? And 80% of the time that works, which goes against the rules of comedy, but it works.
Yeah, it's a YouTube genre. You gotta, I feel like it's hard to just go into it with this understanding. You've been watching YouTube for what, 8 years? You've been in the YouTube space. Is there a learned kind of language to the way YouTube videos are made?
Absolutely. And I truly want to write down a YouTube language Bible. it's in terms of just,
I'd buy it.
Yeah, I want that's amazing. There we go. I got one customer already. That's amazing. But there is that language that traditional just does not work here. And there is it's such a new environment, this style of language. TikTok has its own language. Vine had its own language. Twitter videos have their own language. Facebook videos have their own language. You have to have the experience in each of those fields to understand what that language is. And it is the same way. It's like, are you going to learn French? Are you going to learn Portuguese? Are you going to learn Japanese? You're learning a whole different language each time. If you told me to edit a TV, a piece of television, that's a different language, I'll be crap at it.
And you even talked about there was a great video, the previous video you did was with another group of creators that you worked with. And you expressed to me that was a real challenge for you because you have learned the language of Logan and how to make videos for him. I would imagine as an editor, if you were to get hired to work for another creator, it is kind of like a little discombobulating because you're like, what's your language? I don't know your language.
That's also exactly every creator has their own language. Not just a Twitter has their own language, Facebook has their own language. No, every creator has their own language. And so again, if you told me to edit a David Dobrik vlog, I would probably do a bad job.
I saw his
and I love
to
think about that. I love to think about that.
It's crazy. He edits everything, and he does it in iMovie too, which is hilarious.
I know. I hate it.
You're almost there. Just get Final Cut. You're so close to it. All right, guys. I'm sorry to say, but this is the end of part 1 of my incredible interview with Hayden. Believe it or not, we went on for another hour talking about incredible YouTube tips and techniques. So get ready for next week when you hear part 2 of my conversation with Hayden Hillier-Smith.